Welcome back to the Gothic and Grim YouTube channel. I know my teeth be looking crazy on here, but anyway, it's the lighting. Trust me, it's the lighting. Okay, so I wanted to do this video because I am reopening my tarot readings. I'm gonna restart those sessions. I always call them tarot sessions because that's how I approach it. I approach it more like a counseling session because that's kind of what it is. It's a one-on-one with me, reading your tarot cards and giving you information about your life, whatever, money, love, health, all of that, okay? And so you will be able to book with me through my Patreon. If you're on Patreon, I have a Patreon in which I talk about occult and spirituality. And also, I believe you can click the about or the whatever on this page, but there's a whole bunch of links that I have on this page and how to contact me. But Patreon is, I want to say, is the most private way. Patreon is because you don't have to pay to contact a person. You can just be a Patreon member and DM me through that. Okay. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about how the tarot readings go. So you can DM me or message me about what you would like to know, and how I like to do my sessions are I like a follow-up. So I charge for a reading and a follow-up. The follow-up is built into it because I am a sucker for quality control. I do my own quality control, meaning that you will have a built-in follow-up reading after you have the first initial reading to see what has happened if the reading is correct. And no other tarot reader really does this, but I do it because, again, I am a sucker for quality control. I like to know that I'm right. I've been doing this for over 3 decades, okay? Not to date myself, but I'm an old vampire, and so I like to be right, and I've earned that right to be right, to like that, and I like to make sure that my readings are on point, okay? So with the price of one, not too bad, but just look at it as it's 2 readings into one, okay? And it's not just tarot that I use, but I also use astrology, I also use numerology, I also use occult things that I sense, all of that into a reading. Now, my readings are not like what you've seen on TV, not really entertainment purposes. No, my readings are real. They're not entertainment purposes. Your life is not entertainment. My reading cards is not entertainment, nor is my occult practice. None of that is entertainment. I take that seriously. Anyone who knows me knows I take that seriously. It is not a parlor trick. It is nothing like that. I don't play with my faith. Okay, I don't play with my tarot either because I've done millions of readings. I've done readings in South Korea, Japan, also in Germany. I've done so many readings around the globe that I've forgotten, okay? I've read for different people. People have paid me, and I have stories, okay? I'm going to include some of those stories. We'll talk about some of those stories that I have in this video, okay? So that's how I do my readings. Like I said, it is not for entertainment purposes. I know that there's a lot of bullshit on the internet. There are a lot of people who buy tarot decks and feel like they should be reading for people 1 week later. No, that's disrespectful, actually. But they don't know it because, spirituality is a joke to people. So I get it. And I am not going to complain about it because I do enough complaining about it on my Patreon about how people think the occult is a joke. They're gonna learn anyway. So just as well as the tarot, okay? And I take an old school approach and not a new school approach, an old school. So ask your grandma, ask your great grandma how she approached it, and if you were close with your grandmother, then you know what I mean. I read like an old school woman, okay? I'm like an old gypsy, and probably I'm a gypsy at heart too. Okay, I'm sure that's in my birth chart, and we'll talk about your birth chart when you book a reading as well. Okay, so we're gonna run the whole gamut with your situation. Like I said, I specialize in I don't really specialize in anything. I just know how to read everything, just from having done it for over 3 decades. I know how to read for love, money, business, all of that. Especially business too, especially business. Okay, and health. We'll talk about health in a minute. So, again, you can DM me. You can leave a comment down below. Well, you can't leave your. I wouldn't suggest that you leave your email, but if you are on Patreon and you follow like another YouTuber or something like that, you can DM me from Patreon. And if you click the contact button on YouTube, I think they still have that. I know that's kind of old school YouTube. You can find me on X. You can find me on Instagram. You can DM me on Instagram because I'm checking that now. You can find me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. You can DM me or message me there too. So I can be found, okay? My face is everywhere you see Gothic and Grim, okay? Even if the platform looks a bit empty, I'm still kind of there. I'm just working on it. It's just a lot of work to build a brand, okay? And I have quite a few of them. So this one is the one that I am restarting and literally marrying, okay? So let's talk about readings. So I'll tell you something which I still think is creepy. It's one of my creepiest stories, okay? Okay, and you can, if you've heard this one, you can click off, okay? You can be like, Abby, like I heard this one. Okay, I get it. Okay, so here's something creepy about readings. At least my readings. I don't vouch for other people's readings because I've been read by some assholes, okay, who were straight up fakes, okay? There's a lot of fakes out there. There are people who are winging it. There are people who are winging it. There are people who are cold read, meaning like they have a very surface generic, there's a pamphlet that comes with these, right? When you buy a deck of tarot cards, there's a pamphlet that comes with them. There are people who just only buy the pamphlet and memorize what's in the pamphlet and they think they're a reader. No, bitch, that's not how this works. No, back in the day, like our ancestors did, we had something called books, and we studied the books. We studied the books and we did readings. We studied, read, study, spread, study, spread. This went on, like I said, for decades and decades. That's how we did it back, like our ancestors did, okay? And that's how I do my readings, and that's how I learned, okay? So if you come across others, please be careful of those types of people who haven't been reading a long time, and don't let them charge you. It's fine if they want to just give you a free reading, but don't let them charge you for something that they really don't know. Sometimes people be like, 4 years, 5 years, and it's no offense to them, just keep studying, but there's a lot that you have to know about these cards because there's so many ways that they lay out, and there's so many different positions. There are groupings that have a certain meaning. There are pairs that have a certain meaning. There's combinations that have a certain meaning, and you need to know that. And just because you don't know it and you lay the cards out, the cards start speaking to you, okay, is what they do. They start speaking to you the minute you lay them down. And if you don't know what they're saying, you're at a disservice because you're literally not hearing the truth, okay? Because the cards ain't gonna lie to you, okay? We'll come back to that. The cards are not going to lie to you. The cards are going to tell you the truth whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not. And if you can't understand, if you don't know the pairings, the combinations, what this position means upright, what this position means reverse, what these 5 cards mean together, what they mean here, what they mean after you put the spread down, the Celtic cross spread down. If you don't know what the next cards mean after the next row, you're doing that person a disservice, okay? You don't know what they mean. You need to know what they mean because the cards are speaking to you. So it's your job as a reader to hear what they're saying and to convey that message to that person. That's your job. So especially if you're charging people, but if you, oh, I'm gonna do a 2-card spread, fine. If they're not paying for it, do a 2-card spread. You know, okay, fine. But that's what I tell people. Like, if you want a thorough reading, of course it's gonna cost, and because you're paying for 30 years. There's no career on this planet that you go to school for 30 years, okay? But this is something, like I said, some of us were born into this, to do this, okay? So I suggest that you seek those people out because we have a lifetime of knowledge, okay? And those other people that you want people who understand that sort of thing, okay? Okay. So just a little bit of a story I'll give to you, a personal story, okay? I'm so tanned. So, okay, if you have been on my channel, you know that I'm a stroke survivor, right? I'm not going to go the way that I usually go. I'm just saying, I'm just using this as an excuse because people on my channels, people who follow me, they know my story, okay? And I think I've talked about this on my Patreon, but I'm going to talk about it here because this is going to go on my Patreon and it's going to go on my YouTube, okay? So I'm a stroke survivor, okay? And when I had my stroke, I think I'm going on, it'll be 7 years in October, I believe, like my 7th year anniversary of surviving my stroke. And around the time that I had my stroke, I was super stressed. A matter of fact, I had the Patreon. I was self-employed. I was working a lot. I was working like 14 hours. I was getting like 3 hours of sleep. I was killing myself, okay? I was killing myself. And I was working and working and working and working and working. I was killing myself, right? And really wasn't eating that much. I was, was thin. I was thinner than I am now around my stroke. Like, was more vegan, but wasn't eating a lot, working a lot of hours, not sleeping enough, not taking multivitamins, not treating my health like trash, right? And I was doing my readings. I was so energetically charged at this time. I had like bouts of like telekinesis, and we'll talk about that another time. I've mentioned this on my Patreon, but anyway, that's a whole nother situation, right? Because it's just, it's just pure energy. It's like heightened energy, right? And literally I was stressed for like months and months. I was just like, I can't remember, maybe at least that happened in August. So I was stressed out from January to August, okay, of that year. Okay, so I would do, I would practice my path, and I would do readings. And my readings was so dark. They were so dark. They were so dark. My cards were black. Like I would get sword cards. I would get like reverse this, reverse that. Not in a good way either, because reverse cards can be positive depending on the message and the context. My cards were super dark. A lot of them were black. And, I would read the cards and I would understand what it was saying, but I was always waiting for the corner to turn, right? I would always wait just like, oh, well, there's, I understand that it's black now or it's saying this now, but I'm just waiting for it to come back around or like, things to get better. Most of the readings were black for a period. Like the cards were black, a lot of sword cards, okay? And it took a long time for me to realize my cards were warning me, okay? They were warning me. They were warning me. They were warning me about the amount of stress, about the amount of energy that I was putting out, about like what I was doing to my health, that I was just too stressed out, right? And I didn't pick up on it. And even though I understood what it was saying, I didn't pick up on it. Like, I've done other readings in the past in which was like, oh, I was sick or I was going in for like a surgery or something like that. And the cards would be like, yeah, you having your surgery, oh, you'll be fine, blah, blah, blah. So I think I took that sort of mentality to heart, where I assumed that my cards were saying that same thing when it came to this reading. Here's the difference: the reading never let up. It just the cards were just always dark, always dark, always dark, always dark, right? But one thing I can tell you is that my energy was so heightened. The telepathy was like none other. I can tell you, I could send messages to people. That's another video. But I'm telling you, heightened energy, it may not be safe because the body is probably not meant to sustain such heightened levels of energy, that it can be very harmful to the body, okay? So stress is harmful to the body. We all know that. But depending on who you are and how you handle your stress, you are literally killing yourself, okay? That's just a note. Now back to the readings. So the readings were telling me, like, swords here, swords there, like sickness, this and that, like not really letting up. But I was just like, oh, I'm gonna turn a corner, I'm gonna hit, whatever. And at one point, bam, the reading just came to pass, So the thing of it is why I didn't think I would have a stroke is because there's not a stroke card. Now there are cards that say, serious health issues, things like that. I didn't have a dream that I was gonna have a stroke or anything like that. I didn't have any dreams like that. But the cards kept warning me, warning me, warning me, warning me, warning, warning, warning. Now if it would have been someone else, I would have been like, hey, this reading isn't good, this reading, blah, 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 if it was someone else. But since it was me, and sometimes we can be blinded by our own abilities, you can be like, oh, I know that things will turn or things will get better because we know our lives, or we know our paths in life. So we know that, oh, I'm resilient, oh, I basically have good luck, so this will change or this will pass too. So it was more of a situation like that, me waiting for or assuming that things were going to pass. But things weren't going to pass because I needed to learn that lesson. Plus, I was on a Saturnian line. I was living on a Saturnian line too. So that's a whole nother thing dealing with astrocartography. I think I was living on either a Saturnian line or a Pluto line, okay? And I talk a little bit about that on my Patreon though. But sometimes certain places mix with certain energies, and certain influences are not good, make for a calamity, a personal calamity. And the cards can pick up on that. So the cards can warn you to save your life, really. They can warn you to save your life, as my cards tried to do to me. My cards tried to tell me, they tried to save my life. But I assumed that the cards, that everything was going to turn. Oh, things will turn for the better. Or things will, things will get better, blah, 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 blah. But they didn't, okay? I hit the wall. The reading came to pass, is what happened. And then I went through the whole process of having a stroke. So that's that. But it goes to show that, the cards are real, and what they say is real. And they can do a lot of things to help you, to help save your life or do whatever, if you don't brush them off like I did, okay? Like I said, if I would have been reading for someone else, I would have been, throwing up flags, like, red flags like this if it was someone else. But because it was me, and a lot of people have that whole thing where they're like, oh, I know what this means, I'll just wait for the next reading because the next reading will be better. You're not guaranteed a better reading, okay? You're not guaranteed a better tomorrow. You're not guaranteed the sun to come up, to see the sun rise the next day. You're not, especially if you don't take heed. And so that's my message about the accuracy of the cards, and how they can really save your life. They can save you from a bad marriage. They can save you from a bad business deal, which I've talked extensively about on some of my platforms, about having businessmen come to me about readings, and saving them money from getting involved in bad business deals with certain people, who had less than honorable intentions and just the intention to just take this person's money. And so they basically rewarded me because the cards don't lie. The cards see what you don't, and they say what you won't, and they say what other people will not say, okay? They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about any of that stuff. They just tell the truth, okay? And so before I end this video, I will say one thing. You know, I used to work for a thing called Keen. I used to work for Keen, and it was horrible. It was what made me not want to do it professionally for a long time, because the type of clients that I had, and Keen is a tarot reading site. And I did a lot of research to find out that there are a lot of people on that site they're not readers. They are liars, and they code read on that site. And to have people code read on a site who will lie to customers about readings is really bad. When you have people who actually have reading abilities and actually have been reading for a long time, literally, honestly, to be on a site with people like that, because a code reader is going to tell you whatever you want to hear. They're going to feel your emotions, and they'll tell you, oh yeah, that guy's thinking about you, and yeah, he really wants to be with you, but he can't get his stuff together, blah blah blah. And so what they'll do is they'll hop around to different readers to hear the same thing. And that's what a lot of people on Keen do. They hop around to different readers so they can get confirmation from what the last reader said, to make them really believe it, because they don't believe it, okay? There's something called intuition too. We do this, but there's something inside of you that also knows the truth, okay? So what a lot of people on that site, especially the women, mostly women, not so much men, women will call about men in their relationships. And so they'll ask us, they'll say, well, I'm in a relationship with this one person, and does he really care about me? Does he really want to be with me? Blah, 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 blah. And one person, a cold reader, would say, yes, he really does want to be with you. He just, you're the only one for him. He's in love with you, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's what the cold reader says. But then they'll talk to me, and I'll, shuffle the deck. And if I don't see that, I'm not going to tell you that, because I don't see that. And I know what to look for when somebody's in love with someone. I know what it shows when somebody is screwing someone, when someone's cheating on someone. I know what all of that is. And I've had the most problems with tarot readings with women and dealing with love relationships, okay? And it, like I said, it made me not want to do it professionally, because so many women, they require you to lie to them about relationships, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to disrespect my craft for your raggedy relationship, okay? I'm not going to call it raggedy, but I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm not going to disrespect my 10 years of studying and knowledge and doing this to lie to you about a relationship that's going to come and go, about some man who really doesn't care. If he doesn't care, you really need to know that, okay? And that was something I constantly went through. I've had people downvote me on that site because I told them the truth about their relationship. I've had people come back on that site and told me that I was right, And I've had people in different situations just come back and tell me I'm right, and I know I'm right. I do quality control. I don't play with this, okay? So that's just something else too, because like I said, there's some people who only want to hear one answer, whether it's correct or not, and they want to hear that answer because they're going through something. If you want to be made whole with the truth, then yes, I'm a person that you can come to, because there is healing in these readings. There's healing in the truth, but there's no healing in a lie. If you want me to lie to you about a relationship, about being with someone, or they just can't get out away from themselves, no. I mean, I can tell what type of person you're dating, because the card is going to represent him, and the card is going to represent you. And sometimes the cards that represent the person who is asking is not great. So, there's a whole lot that's going on there. But like I said, there's healing in it, but I can't heal a lie. The lie, I'm not going to lie to you about your relationship situation, because I'm not going to lie on my craft. I'm just not going to do it. If I don't see it, I'm going to tell you I don't see it. I'll tell you what I do see, but I'm not going to make up what I don't see, okay? So that's just something too, because I just remember that like it was yesterday, and there was a lot going on with just a lot of women just being angry because I'm like, look, I mean, I tell you one thing: if one reader sees it and it's that way, and another reader sees the same thing, then you can bet on it. But if one reader sees something and another reader doesn't see it at all, and I'm like, well, lady, I've been doing this for like, how long was it then? I've been doing this for 32 years. I've been doing it, I think at that time, maybe like all going on 30 years. So it's like, if I don't see it at this point, like you talking about love. Love is the most, like one of the most general, types of readings to have. So it's not like there's anything real special that, I need to do. Like, that's pretty much what I think what people learn first off is like love, and then money and then whatever. But I just wasn't gonna lie to a person, and sometimes you also have to be ready to hear the truth too. You have to be ready to hear the truth. There's a lot of people who aren't willing to hear the truth. They don't, but when X amount of cards show up on the table, or there's a lot of female cards that show up on the table, there's a lot of men cards that show up on the table. The cards are basically telling you what's what, and we can sympathize with you, but the cards are telling you the truth. It's up to you to accept it or feel however you want to feel about it. But the cards ain't gonna take it back, and they're not gonna lie to you, and I can't lie to you because the cards are not gonna lie to you. Okay, so I just want to put that out there because I am not gonna ruin my reputation, and there's no one on the internet or there's no one anywhere on any part of the planet saying that I lied to them about a reading. There's no one that I took the money haphazardly. No, I don't play with that. I don't play with any of that. I don't play with my reputation as far as readings come. I don't. I've been doing it too long. I've been studying this longer than doctors go to school. The PhD people go to school, and no, I've been doing it too long. So I'm not gonna start lying now. It doesn't make any sense. Half a foot in the grave at my age, and now I'm gonna start lying. I don't think so. Okay, so we got that clear. Okay. So, like I said, down below, or if you go on Patreon, X, Facebook, Instagram, you'll be able to find me, and you'll be able to book a reading, okay? And then we can talk, and then I'm not an asshole about readings, but I am gonna tell you the truth because you are owed the truth, and if a reading isn't good, we can find out what's to come, okay? These readings are about, they give you clarity in life. That's the focus. And sometimes you may have a little bit of a bad period, but then the good comes around, So that's just that's just how life is. But it's always best to know the truth than to kind of rely or get comfortable with a lie, okay? All right, so thank you so much for watching. If you are new to this channel, go ahead and subscribe because I'll have more context about this. Usually I just talk about magic and the occult, but since I am restarting my tarot readings and counseling and coaching private sessions, of course, and we'll do that. We'll do it on Teams. Since I am restarting that, I'll have more of that type of content out. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.